I think I'm going to change what's up here a little bit to talk about what Ram was just talking about. And Hipstamatic. How many of you guys have ever used our app? Cool. Thank you. So we'll start off with a really quick history. So Hipstamatic was created from two guys in a 400 square foot studio with no heat in Minnesota. So, our background was in design and development. Myself and my business partner, Ryan, we started a design studio out of college after realizing that we couldn't work for anyone else because we thought we were better at their job than them. And we ran a studio for 3 years where we, took startups, companies. We were the guys that, someone like Gowalla would hire to come in, build their products, and then help them ship it. We started writing software. We started writing their business plans, and then all of a sudden, they would run out of money in 2008, 2009. VCs weren't giving them anything, and so we found ourselves thinking that we should probably make a product that goes straight to consumer. And we debated for about a week between analog and digital product, whether we should make a wine label or mobile software. Mobile software won out because it was free for us to make. Between the two of us, we didn't need. First, we didn't know anything about wine other than we knew we could package it better than we seen on store shelves. So with mobile software, between two guys, we could write the app, we could brand it, and we could tell a story. And in 2009, the App Store was still pretty full. It was 250,000 apps. We were going to be 250,001. And today there's 500 million apps. I have no idea. So we launched the app, and our strategy was always storytelling. And we needed a story to tell. And photography as a medium is so interesting because you take this three-dimensional space and you get to transform it into two dimensions, and then over time it becomes dimensionless, and it translates into memory. And I think that's the most exciting thing about photography, and having cameras on your mobile phone. You always have a camera with you, whereas 5 years ago, before iPhone, I never had my camera on me. I missed every moment, unless I, invited people in for a photo shoot, then it wasn't happening. So I think that's one of the most interesting things going on today in the photography space is you see a company like Kodak that is just failing miserably. They've dropped in valuation every quarter for the last 3 quarters to the point where they're probably valued less than a lot of these startups that aren't making money. However, we do make money. Our business model is all about charging for everything. We have something like 3.5 million downloads of the app, and then we have probably 400 million, or 400, that'd be awesome, 4 million to 5 million downloads of our Hipstapacks. So our entire model is, based around this idea that if you have this camera, you want to pimp it out, you want to mod it up. If you go into any camera store, or if you ask any professional photographer, every year Canon, Nikon, Kodak, they're all coming out with new cameras, new lenses, new filters, new flashes. And for us, it just seemed so logical when we were whiteboarding Hipstamatic that, this is an analogy that translates really well. And Hipstamatic was the first app outside of the games industry to use the in-app purchase model successfully. And for us, it's been really fantastic. It's not hard to understand the idea of buying new things, especially when we have awesome designers that make stuff extra sexy. This is the froth on top that Ron was talking about, the cappuccino. It's really true. This is what you want. You have 2 seconds when you're browsing the App Store to decide if you want something or not. And you have the reviews and you have the screenshots, and that's all you get. So you need to write something really nice. It needs to be easy to understand, and it needs to look freaking sexy. So let's talk. I'll talk a little bit about how we actually started how we became these 2 guys with a cool idea to. I would say that we're a real business now, whereas a year ago we were still a couple of guys that were kind of making shit up as we went. Our company today is 10 people. We have 2 iOS developers, 2 Ruby developers, 2 creatives, 2 business people. I'm on that team, even though I still do creative, and 2 community people. So we're still pretty lean. I read a lot in the last few weeks about lean startups, and our friends over at Instagram, super lean, but they got freaking $7 million. Our company is not funded. We're privately owned. Myself and my partner own 100% of the company. We pay our employees really well. How we recruit people is, to work with us, you have to be the best at what you do. And, it is a lot of lunches, coffees, dinners. And sometimes we hire people and let them go within a week because they oversold themselves. But we're competing for the same people that Apple and Facebook and Google are competing for. And when you can sit down with somebody and say, hey, why would you want to work at Apple and be on a team of people that is going to produce iChat or whatever it's going to be, the Maps app. This is Apple's big sell. If you're competing for people that are going to Apple, they use this line, something along the lines of, what would it be like if you could develop something that was on the home screen? Those 9 apps or whatever they have, 13 apps. It sounds really cool, but you're also a part of 20 people. If you come and join us or any other startup, you get to be a part of, 100 people, 10 people, 50 people, and we expect everybody that works with us to own it. If you're not owning the project, if you don't love what you do, don't do it. For us, that really, I talked about what we do, but why we do it is just as important. We look at Hipstamatic as being a creative and culture brand, lifestyle brand, more than a software company. We happen to make software, but we're really, part of what internally we call the creative class, a group of people that love art, design, fashion, music. We don't have idols, because we all believe that we are the celebrities. And I think this is, something that really translates with our generation. You look at Facebook, you look at Twitter, it's all about you get to be the celebrity, you're the star, and that's our entire strategy on the community side. We have places here in London. We have a fantastic community ambassador, Jack, who runs Orange Dot Gallery. He came to us a year ago and said, hey, I'm running this site called hipstamatics.com. People are sending their photos in. I want to do a gallery show. Can you help us out? And at the time, we had just launched our printing service. From within the app, you can print 4-inch, 7-inch, 10-inch, 30-inch prints, and we ship to 232 countries. So Jack was doing the show, and we said, hey, why don't we introduce our new prints at your gallery? And We paid for the prints and shipped him out, and he did a show, and he got more press coverage because he loved what he was doing. He was running his gallery. It benefited him. So we read stuff in The Guardian, The Sun, all these places, and we didn't do anything. We just helped him become important. And that's how we look at our job as we grow as a company and as we become a brand, is we just need to help people do cool things, give people a reason to use our product. When Hipstamatic launched, it came out and nobody knew who we were. We didn't have investors, so we couldn't ask for help over there. So we sent out our press releases where we could and got some coverage. And then Apple featured us in January of 2010, which sales went way up. And then, like every featured app, you float back down. And as we were floating down, we were noticing all of these users, posting their photos to Flickr and tweeting them and sharing them. And we thought it would be really awesome if we could reward those people. So we introduced this idea of a photo contest, a chance to compete against each other, who's taking the coolest photos. And we would give you, a $100 gift card for iTunes so that, you could buy more Hipstapacks. So as soon as that happened, we were floating down, we weren't featured anymore, sales were dropping, and then we introduced the contest, and we not only met what Apple had done for us, but we had tripled downloads based on, this contest where people just wanted to share images, and they wanted validation over, their Hipstamatic shots against their friends. This stands for "Would you buy it?" I mean, when you have, when we make our products, we always have meetings and we start developing stuff, and then it comes to a point where we have, the product's getting pretty close. It's like half, 60% done. We have a working model. And then we always ask the question, would you buy it? And a lot of times the answer is no, so we cut things. Before we started working on Hipstamatic, we had actually started working on this really awesome retro weather radar app. It is so badass. I'm not even joking. You could tell when it was raining, but this little Doppler thing. Never mind. The problem was that as soon as we started mocking it up, and we said, if this was on the App Store today, would you buy it? And Ryan and I looked at each other, and we both said maybe. Then we said people would buy it. And if people want to buy your product, then you should make it, which I hear a lot in living in San Francisco now. People, who's the audience? People. And for us, one of the reasons that we're very successful is that we're the target audience. When you have to think about who's going to use the product or how they're going to use it, it's really easy when you say, would I use it? How would I use it? Or how would you use it? And we get to have these great debates internally, and if it doesn't pass that, it's never coming to market. So would you buy it? Next. FOMO. Now this goes back to this contest and goes back to our entire social networking strategy. We will never, Hipstamatic, you'll never have a Hipstamatic social network. You can post your photos anywhere you want. You can post them to Facebook, Twitter, Flickr. We're talking with Instagram, maybe. It's like that's not our business model, and it's because we don't know how to make money on a social network. You need to have hundreds of millions of users and then turn in a flip of a switch and monetize. And for us, our strategy has always been circular. How do we get users to fall in love with our product, use it daily, and then can we offer them more stuff? So we don't need constant customer acquisition. So Hipstamatic, we have 3.5 million downloads, but how many people actually use it? And for us, our retention rates are fantastic. We have between 91 and 92% active users. every month. And a lot of it has to do with we're a premium product. You paid $2.99 to get this app. You could have paid us up to, $12, $13, $14 if you bought all of the stuff. And there's a monetary attachment, so you're not going to uninstall our app. Same with Angry Birds. I downloaded that damn thing, and I'd never play it, but I can never get rid of it, just in case. I also have Angry Birds Rio. So this idea of FOMO, it's the fear or the feeling of missing out. It's when you're walking down the street and you're on your way to a business meeting and you see a bunch of people in a bar drinking and having fun. I have huge FOMO. I want to divert. I want to go in. And this is how we look at social media and sharing photography. Whether it's posting to Facebook, you'll see at the bottom if people have shared via Hipstamatic, it says shared via Hipstamatic in 5-point type, and if your friends are taking cool photos, for $2.99 you can take, or $1.99 you can take cool photos too. So that's sort of, we always look at this idea of feelings or fear of missing out as, two-market strategy. If nobody envies what you're doing, then who cares? What else we got? Focus. So we'll skip that. We'll skip this so that we can get to questions. Oh, just kidding. Where do I mean? Okay, so, coming back to this idea of, FOMO, and we have this creative class, and we have this group of people that either love us or a lot of people hate us, and that's okay. That's how we want it to be. Like, having the background in branding, if somebody loves your product or hates it, at least they have an opinion. It's why Howard Stern's popular. But if nobody cares, then you've completely lost the battle, and you need to move on. So we've definitely made a ton of mistakes, and a lot of it has to do with not understanding the strength of our community. And when we make mistakes, we sometimes will post to Facebook or admit the mistakes, and that's fine. But then when we start to defend ourselves, that's when everything always takes a turn for the worse. So what we've discovered is it's way better if you let your community just fight it out on your Facebook page or on Twitter. And for everybody that hates, there's at least somebody that loves it just as much. One of the things about Hipstamatic is, we look at it as very much, it's a camera. It's, there's no post-processing. There's no going back and doing it later. We launched the product as a camera, and then a few weeks later, we read the App Store reviews, and everyone was like, 5 stars, I love it, or 1 star, why the hell can't I post-process? Because every app in the store at the time, and most of them today, that's a feature that is just expected. And for us, we wanted to really target this idea of a human experience. How do I touch the device? How do I feel it? And we had this really, I don't even know what to call it other than delusion, that we could change the way people used cameras to go back and mimic what was happening 20, 25, 30 years ago. And when you watch somebody take a photograph with their cell phone, the pose is somewhere, it's like this, And for us, we wanted to bring people back to here, and that's why there's a tiny little viewfinder on Hipstamatic. We honestly expected everybody to put their device up to their face. We didn't achieve that, but when you walk down the street and I'll notice some people, standing kind of funny and going like this because they can't see, it's usually because they're taking a Hipstamatic photo. And they don't know that you can double tap and it makes it full screen and then you can touch anywhere to shoot. So, yeah, I don't know. That's our story. I mean, I really would rather just answer questions because there's probably a few.
Okay, so you're asking for question, calling for question.
Yeah.
So, who wants to jump in? Have a bit more light? Just the front.
Hi, Avi. So, thanks for your talk. So I was interested to hear, you said you wanted to make a really cool product and it wanted to be design focused.
Yeah.
So when you started out, how were you going to differentiate as a photo application? What were maybe the 2 or 3 things you were focusing on to give that design edge?
Well, on the technology side, iOS 3.1 had just been released as we were developing Hipstamatic, and this was the first time that you could actually overlay on top of Apple's camera APIs. There was another app out that had gotten banned from the store that did some stuff where they overlaid some graphics on that camera view. And then they had to go over to Cydia and the sort of jailbreak market. And then when iOS 3.1 got released, we thought, how cool would it be if I could actually, take photos and it would work like a camera. We had all of these effects. The effects that are in Hipstamatic, the original ones, were mostly a collection of Photoshop effects that I had created over the years as an art director at doing fashion magazines. So it was really cool that my partner could develop and make something happen on an iPhone in one button that took me 2 hours to do. So that in itself was really cool to me, and I loved the product. And we all use our own products every day. And I just seen this weekend there was a post somewhere about Mark Zuckerberg, and maybe he's too busy to use Facebook anymore, and he's not. He responded within 4 minutes that said, no, I'm on here. I use it all the time. And it's because he loves the product, and we feel the same way about our app. But it was really about that experience about, if I have all these effects, can we break them down? And we talked about, going into the camera store, there's lenses, there's films. Do you shoot black and white, or do you shoot color? Do you shoot ISO, 400 or 100? And that just started sparking conversation about what if we broke that down into an application that you could swipe through different lenses and pick different films, and that's actually what would determine your effects. And it brings this idea of chance and serendipity, which really is important to us. It's, photography is a medium that, sure, it's about documentation, but it's also, about capturing emotion. The fact that you can capture a feeling through a lens, that's an idea that completely got lost in the transition between analog and digital. Every manufacturer was trying to get optical perfection, and obviously iPhone's original camera was complete rubbish. And one of the really early reviews that we had was from this Canadian talk show, and they said the brilliance of Hipstamatic was that they took a shitty camera and made it shittier. And I agree.
Any other questions? Is it possible to have a bit more light?
Hi there. I'm Steve Kingsley-Jones. I'm with Immersion. We do technologies that go into mobile phones all the time. And my question for you is, given the flexibility of your product, iOS is huge and the iPhone's big, but it's a monoculture. You've got one kind of lens that's out there. You can only do so much, and even with the iPhone 5 or 4S coming out later this week, it's still not going to be anywhere near as impressive as the cameras that are on Android phones 2 years ago, or compare it all to the 12 or 16 megapixel cameras that are going to be available in Android today. But there's 20 different devices, 20 different resolutions, et cetera. So how do you handle that as a product that very much takes advantage of the hardware?
Yeah, so this is a couple of questions in one. There's the obvious Android question, and why hasn't Hipstamatic gone to Android in 2 years? And the answer is really easy. It's the people that we want to use our product, the people that would fall in love with our product, probably aren't using Android devices. If you look at Apple's culture and who they're selling their products to. It's the creative class. It's the industries that are, in advertising, marketing, and that generally consider themselves to want to be more self-expressive versus something that's all about the specs. You take nachos, for example. Nachos with cheese is really cool, but nachos with cheese and jalapeno, now that's all about the specs. That's what you're talking about. And I don't know. For us, the new hardware that's going to come out and be announced in a few hours, all that does is that means more work for us because we have to go back and make all of our assets bigger. So I'm pretty happy with iPhone 4. They can stop.
Question in the front.
Hey, thanks for that. It's hugely interesting. I've got a general and difficult question for you. What's your biggest mistake in your couple of years of running Hipstamatic?
The biggest mistake we had happened this year. Instagram came out. I know those guys. They're pretty cool. They were working on this product called Bourbon. All of their beta testers were using Bourbon, some friends of mine. And when they were beta testing Bourbon, the only part of their entire social network that was being used was the photo sharing, and people were sharing Hipstamatic photos. So then they said, you know what, we should probably just do that. And it was a fantastic choice on their part. For us, it was hard to digest because we didn't want. Well, first of all, we weren't going to be a free app. We wanted to make money, so that didn't work out for us. And then, the idea of trying to build a social network is hugely difficult. So we attempted to solve our own version of photo sharing, and our response to Instagram was this product. It's in the app right now, and it probably won't be there in a few builds, but it's called Family Album. This idea that you can share all of your Hipstamatics with whoever you want, and it's a half-assed product. Nobody knows internally what the hell it's supposed to do, and the problem is nobody uses it. And we built it in direct response to Instagram, and while it launched really great, the first weekend there was something like 17 million images shared, and it was awesome, and then it just didn't grow. It's not sticky, and there's some things that could be improved, but there was a lot of mistakes. We spent a lot of time, 3 or 4 months, trying to build a product that none of us really wanted. So we're trying to make up lost ground. Now we did a little internal hackathon weekend last week where we have another app called Incredibooth. It's a photo booth. It uses the front-facing camera. But it doesn't have the same business model or sex appeal that Hipstamatic has. So we corrected that in a weekend. It'll come out in a few weeks. It has different booths. You can buy booths. It allows for great partnership opportunities. That was a huge mistake for us, though. Wasted resources. When you only have a few people, and iOS engineers, first of all, are the most overpaid and hardest people to find, so that's why they get overpaid. You can't waste those resources. It's like being in a desert and drinking all your water, and then being like, shit, I'm thirsty. Sorry.
Who's the iOS developer here? Come on,
all
hands up. Come on, be proud.
We pay really well. So one of the ways we recruit is we honestly do pay really well, and because we're small and profitable, we can offer things that other companies can't. We don't, I'm not going to give you stock options. I'm going to give you dividends. We pay out based on profits to all the employees, and that's way cooler than having a piece of paper that says someday this might be worth some coin. I'm terrible.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.